Yo, what's up, guys? It's D Brown with Trackheads, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Trackheads. So, as you guys know, I had a track season this season, right? Last time I updated you guys, it had to be like 7 months ago. 7 months ago means that it was about February because it's almost September. So a lot of you guys may be questioning like, yo, what's been going on with your track season? You've been seeing a lot of videos coming and going. I've been giving a lot of analysis on the Olympics. The Olympics happened, random track meets are happening. I'm shooting out all these videos, but no workout videos, no training videos. Like, yo, what's been going on? So as you guys know, last time it was about in February, March. I did my last time trial. It was about 37.8. I told you guys the main thing I needed to improve on was my strength. I feel like I was more than fast enough to be able to handle the speed to run. You know, I was going through the 200 like 23 lows. For my race pace of a 400, I was coming through the 150 at 16 and some change, 11.5. Like I was in a pretty good situation, but after 250, my body was breaking down, which when I take off my athlete hat and put on my coaching hat, I need to work on my strength big time. So I decided to devote March and April to really making sure that my training reflected that. So I did a complete overhaul on my training. I decided, hey, 2 of my days out of the 4 or 5 training days that I have need to be dedicated to strength. Is that, again, make my aerobic system, feed my aerobic system, because if you know anything about energy systems, the 400 meters it kind of caters to both the speed side and also that strength side. And you have to have an aerobic system, at least for me. You don't have to have it, but for my body type, I need it. And I feel like that's been lacking because I've always been in great positions in the 400, around 300, 250, and in my body, I can't move. Then I ended up doing in March, like late March, early April, I did a practice session. I did 2 times 300s, right? And in those 2 times 300s, I'll show this video now. In those 2 times 300s, I was able to run like 37.2, 37.1 pretty easily. And I mean, the last 100, I was able to maintain my velocity and not necessarily kick just yet, but I was able to not break down, work in training. And I decided, let me go run a 200 to kind of break the ice, right? If you're a 400 meter person, a 200 is the perfect icebreaker to kind of figure out where you're at before you actually tackle a 400. I told myself I wasn't going to run a 400 in the meet until I was confident going into it that I could finish in some kind of shape, at least to know what I'm working with. So I ran a 200. So what I did was I did a time trial. So I did a time trial in the 400, and then I also ran a race in the 200. So the 200 is right here.
You got 2 more. Let's go.
I ran the 200. I ran like 23.5. And when I finished running it, I was just kind of bummed out a little bit. But I mean, for my first 200, and I don't know how long, I think maybe like 2 years, 3 years ago, I went 22.9. It wasn't too bad. 23.5 for my first one wasn't too bad. And I ran a 400. And in that 400, I went 52.9. And you just check out the video. The video's right here. But basically, in this 400, it was pretty windy on the backstretch, but I ran it pretty smooth, pretty relaxed. And it was 52.9. So I'm just like, okay, I haven't ran 52. I mean, I haven't ran 52 since like 2019, 18. It's been a quite some time. It's been quite some time I even ran like an open 400 like that. So I was really pleased with how that went. I was really pleased about how my body felt. I still had a long way to go. But I was really pleased with it. So through May and June, I continued to work. I continued to train, but I was dealing with a lot of injuries because the weather was changing, and it was getting hotter, which meant my body was getting faster, but my muscles were just, it just took a while for it to adapt. Excuse me. So it took a while for my muscles to adapt, and I was dealing with a chronic quad pain. So with this quad pain, it was on my right quad, and every time I really ramped it up and really started to turn over and really started to bounce off the track, my quad was giving me like this very weird stretch because I'll be doing like 30-meter flies, 40-meter flies, 50-meter flies, holding my turnover great. And it's like the stretch that I would feel and getting more and more elastic and my body getting used to the speed. My quad was just giving me issues. So I would have to take random weeks off. It would take like a week for it to recover. I'll come back, train, get some good training in, do some speed work again. It will feel sore. I'll take 2 days off. So it'll be very annoying. And I told myself at the beginning of the year that I really wanted to I was really eyeing this, this Masters meet in July. Like, man, I want to be able to compete. I want to have some fun. I have this track team. They're doing really well. And I feel like, I'm training for what? What am I training for? Is it just to practice, or am I doing it for something? So I figured, hey, let's see what we can do. 2 weeks before the Masters meet, though, I ended up doing a time trial. 'Cause like I said, it's been real inconsistent with this quad issue. I was having a bunch of different issues. I was training. First of all, I was training people full time. I was doing coaching for my track team full time. And I was also trying to train myself. So I did a track meet. I did a time trial, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I'm glad I did it because with time trials, it's like we need to know where we're at before we go to this meet. I ended up going 54.9. Atrocious, atrocious, atrocious. I ended up going through it was just a bad race overall. It was cold, it was windy, and I just shouldn't have ran it, to be honest. But, oh my gosh, excuse me. I shouldn't have ran it, but it was just like a very horrible, it wasn't a good look. And I told myself, like, I need to put my head down and I need to train. I need to get my body back into the rhythm, because what happened was I was really strong from doing those aerobic things and continuing to develop my system, but I didn't have the speed behind it because every time I would ramp up, my quad would give me issues. I was having hamstring issues. I was having a lot of issues when it came to getting up to full, like, top speed, which is essential for the 400 because you still have to have speed, but you have to be comfortable at the race pace, which means you have to be faster than race pace, which means if I'm going through the first 200 at 23 mid or high, I need to be comfortable going 23 or under, right? And every time I would ramp it up in practice, going and doing my 150s at 16s or doing flies at an even faster pace, my hamstring, would start to give me issues. So I really put my head down in those last 2 weeks. Make sure I got ample recovery, make sure I prioritize hydration. I did everything that I possibly could to make sure that I stayed healthy. And make sure that I stayed healthy, make sure there was no issues. I had knee issues as well. My body was just getting beat up all around. But for those 2 weeks, I'm so glad my body held up. And when I arrived at that Masters meet, man, it was just a great situation. I was able to, first of all, I was super nervous. But the one thing I really liked, unlike any other meet, there was no rolling schedule. I was able to just show up and of course do all my information beforehand. But I was able to show up because they had a specific time. I was able to plot out my warm up. It was hot as hell. It was in Sacramento. It was about 106 degrees. And I just planned one race. It was just to run the 400. And I just knew, like, hey, I'm going to leave it all on the track. I practice. We're going to do it just like practice. I've run this race model so many times in practice. And I'm confident that I should be able to do my thing in this race. But like I said, it was super hot. My heart was beating outside my chest. I felt like I was having heart palpitations. I was having a heart attack. It was just crazy. But I ended up walking away from that particular meet. Or actually, here's the race right here.
Wow, in lane 3, that is James Dang. James Dang running very well.
Come on, Darnell!
Dang and Wakefield as they come down the home
Come on,
stretch.
Darnell! Keep going!
There goes Wakefield.
Come on. Not get caught. Come on.
And it will be Wakefield, then Dang.
So I ended up walking away from that meet getting third place overall. Splits weren't too bad. I ended up going through at 23, like mid. I ended up running like 37.2, and then I finished up in 52.88, I believe was the final time. So I wasn't too mad at that, especially because it was hot. It was 103 to 106 degrees that day. It took me a while to recover afterwards. My body was just overheated. It took a while for it to cool down. But afterwards, man, I was really, really happy because it's been a long year. It was a long year, long season. I never thought that I would see 52 again, based on my scheduling, based on the full-time work schedule that I have, based on my lack of recovery because I'm always on my feet because of work. But I was really happy with the end result. I also ran a 200 the day after with some of my track club. I had some high schoolers and some collegians getting ready for that meet, and then I ended up running like 23.2.
Come on, Darnell!
It was 103 degrees that day as well. So, and I walked away healthy from that as well. I did not run that 200 to the best of my ability. I ended up, just basically blasting the first 150, and then that last 50 was just a slow death. I think I could have got like 22.8 or 9 if I would have ran that more strategic. But, you live and learn. It was fun, and I was in really great shape. I was really happy about it. And yeah, that's pretty much how the season went, so I can't complain at all. The Masters meet was really, really dope. I ended up walking away with a nice medal that I'll cherish because it was my first Masters meet I ever competed in, and I walked away with a third place medal. And I just found out today that to be All-American for my age group, I had to run under 53 seconds. So I ran 52.8, which means I guess I'm All-American. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy with that. And I just wanted to give you guys a brief update with how my season went. I consider it to be a successful season. My goals, if you would have asked me my time goals at the beginning of the year, it was to run 23, and it was to run a 52-second 400. And I think those are great building blocks to build off of because next year I have some pretty, lofty goals. Next year, as now that I know that I can get my body to where I want it to go, it just takes a longer period of time. I'm probably gonna make another video about like certain things that I learned this year and things that what's it gonna take for me to make that next jump next year and to run a better 400, run a better 200, and be a little bit more competitive. Because if you noticed in the race, I got third place, but the guys in front of me were at, and I'm not comparing because I'm glad I'm happy with how I did, but the race that was ahead of me for first and second, they were running 50, which means that if I'm going to see them next year, and I'm at the bottom of my age group, I was 30. So I'm actually 31 now, but if I want to compete with them and I want to be able to run those faster times, guess what? I'm going to have to get a little bit faster. I'm going to have to get a little bit stronger. I got to tap into how the training that is going to improve me in those areas. So that's the kind of thing I'm going to be looking forward to showing in the journey of how I want to compete in Masters next year, because that definitely fulfilled the training. Training is difficult if you don't have anything to work towards. So I'm really happy with how I did. But yeah, guys, definitely a great experience. I'm gonna see if I can continue to bring you guys up with the journey, and I'm very happy that you were able to watch the video if you watched towards the end. So if you have any questions or comments below, definitely leave them below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm gonna be dropping videos multiple times a day, different kinds of videos. This is a track channel, guys, so you're gonna be getting a bunch of different content from me, whether it's through analyzing the track and field athletes, general information about athletes, but also these workout Wednesdays that kind of help to educate athletes or coaches of how to train particular events. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to release the things that we've been releasing on this channel. And definitely, if you like it, like I said, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment below. But like I said, guys, thank you guys for watching. This is D Brown with Trackheads. Peace.